Hi, this is Yolanda, and welcome to Financially Fabulous Females. If we're just meeting, hello, welcome to this channel. And when it comes to all of my content that I produce on social media and digital media, it is always my goal to help you manage money well and to build generational wealth. So hit the subscribe button, like this video, and let me know in the comments down below what it is do you like to invest in. All right, so I'd like to hear from you. Type it right down in the comments down below, and let's listen to what South Africa has to say about investments. So it's been an absolute bloodbath in South Africa when it comes to jobs. And even prior to COVID-19 and the lockdown, jobs have just been shed in almost every sector. And a lot of the times it's through retrenchments and positions becoming redundant, and it's even more so during the lockdown period. Now, with a lot of people retrenched, receiving their retrenchment packages, we had one follower write in and wanted some guidance about what to do with retrenchment funds. And this is what she had to say. Hi, my name is Corinne. I have been following your page. Thanks for sharing useful content. Can you do a video illustrating the difference between the money market, Alan Gray policy, and other options if you had 50 to 100,000 to invest and you only wanted to withdraw part of the interest every month to use for living expenses? I know a lot of people that have been retrenched, and this may be of interest to them. So, Corinne, we're going to answer your question today about retrenchments and investing with your retrenchment packages as such that you've received from your company. So at this point, I am hoping that you understand what happens when you get retrenched in terms of taxes and the withdrawing of your pension packages specifically. So if you have been contributing to your employer's pension or provident plan, you would receive a lump sum payout from the plan, depending on the rules of the fund, of course. It's important to know that these funds are treated as retrenchment benefits, mainly because of how the tax around these benefits are dealt with. So when it comes to that lump sum and you are forced to withdraw due to whatever circumstance, you need to live off this money if you don't have any sort of retrenchment cover, income protection in place, and if you want to draw from your retirement benefit upon retrenchment, these are the rules that apply. You are allowed, at the time of this video, you are allowed 500,000 withdrawal from your retirement benefits tax-free. So this would include your severance benefit at time of retrenchment and also the retirement portion as well. So you can withdraw 500,000 of this tax-free. This is only a once in a lifetime thing. Once you exceed that 500,000, tax becomes due. So it's totally up to you whether you want to exercise those tax-free options now or upon retirement age. So if you've planned well and you have a solid emergency fund, you have retrenchment protection in place, your first option would be to preserve your retirement benefits. And you do this by transferring funds directly from your employer's pension or provident fund into a preserver fund. Directly into, you don't want your retirement funds to come into your account, because once that happens, the tax rules apply. So you want it to go from one pension fund to the preserver fund, and that transfer happens all tax-free. I think the only limitation when it comes to preservation of retirement funds is that you cannot contribute to the retirement preserver or the pension preserver or the provident preserver. When you go on to your new job, you will continue paying into the new pension fund. If you have an individual retirement annuity, you can pay directly into the private retirement annuity, but you cannot contribute into the preserver. If you already have an individual RA, retirement annuity set up, you can take your funds and pass it directly into your individual RA, tax-free of course, and those funds can grow into that RA. And this works well, especially if you have a suite of products from your financial services provider that gives you many boosts when it comes to contributions into your retirement funds. So this could work to your benefit if planned well. The key thing here is to note that you cannot withdraw from your individual retirement annuity until your retirement age. So if you are unclear about what your retirement age is, you would have set that at the inception of your individual retirement annuity. So if you don't know, go and check. So when it comes to the severance portion of your retrenchment payout, this would include things like overtime, holiday pay, any sort of commissions or incentives. All of that are included into your severance payout. It's also important to know that according to the South African law, you are entitled to 1 week of pay for every year that you have been employed. So remember, when it comes to your retirement benefits upon retrenchment and your severance benefits upon retrenchment, both work with the same set of rules where you're allowed to withdraw 500,000 Rand tax-free. So what can you do once you make this withdrawal up to 500,000? Well, depends on your personal circumstances. If you're debt-free, you have a lot of options. If you are in debt, ideally you'd want to pay off that debt. You don't want to be paying 15, 16, 17% interest per year on those kind of debts. You want to use whatever lump sums you have to settle your debt and preserve more of your wealth. So going back to Corinne's original question, I hope at this point that I've given you understanding about what happens to your severance and retirement benefits upon retrenchment. So that will enable you to make better decisions. Remember, any content that I put out on my social media platforms does not constitute financial advice. This is a form of financial education. Financial advice is when a fit and proper financial advisor like me or the thousands of other individuals in South Africa sit with you and discuss what your financial goals are, what your plans are, where you want to be in a couple of years. And the advisor will give you advice based on your specific situation. Now, this situation is purely generic, and the information that I'm providing you right now is not financial advice at all. So do not make any major decisions based on the advice that I give you in this video. Use it as a point of reference and seek advice from a professional, fit and proper financial advisor. If you do not have a financial advisor, reach out to me. It's Yolanda at financiallyfabulousfemales.com, and I will provide you with the best advice that I can. So coming back again to Corinne's question, Corinne asked, can you do a video illustrating the difference between money market and Allan Gray policy and other options if you had 50 to 100,000 to invest? So let's talk about money market for a while. So money market, it's basically an interest-bearing account. So whatever money you have, I mean, you can open a money market account from your internet banking app with most of the major commercial banks in South Africa. So a money market is a parking bay. It's a place where you park your money because you want your money to be liquid, because maybe you want to make a major purchase. You don't know what you're going to use this money for. You're going to take a decision in the next 2 to 6 weeks, and you want your money there in the money market to make those quick financial decisions. Now, money market accounts do not pay you high amounts of interest. So money market really pays you low amounts of interest. Like I'm on Standard Bank right now. I'm on the Standard Bank website, and they have a money market select investment account with a minimum opening deposit of 100,000 rands. They're giving you an interest of 4.65%. You have access to your funds at any time, and there's no administration fee on this. So 4.65% is not much. And what we always have to factor in when it comes to investment is inflation. For example, if you keep 100,000 Rand in your account for the next 10 years, the buying power of that 100,000 Rand drops maybe 40, 50%, all because of inflation. So we have to always factor in inflation. So currently the country is sitting at an inflation rate of around 2.5%, 3%. So minus that from the 4.65%, you're making 1.65%. For me, it's not really worth it. But that's how a money market works. It's the key things to remember about money market is immediate access and low interest rates, and it's a parking bay. It's somewhere that you hold your funds temporarily while you decide how you're going to invest your money. So instead of keeping it in your check account while you make this decision and research other investment options, you park it into the money market and get something, 4%. I'll take 4% any day for a couple of weeks, but not long term. It's a short-term thing. It's a short-term parking bay. So that's money market. It works the same basically with whichever company, from the banks to the financial houses. There'll be slight variations, nothing major when it comes to the money market interest rates among the various companies. So, Corinne, the second thing you asked me about was an Alan Gray policy. I know Alan Gray is very popular. When I sit with my clients and we're doing investments and everybody's like, I want Alan Gray, I want Alan Gray, I want Alan Gray. It's good to want Alan Gray, but a lot of the times Alan Gray is the only thing we know about, because Alan Gray branding, it's a popular brand, it's a prestigious brand. So let's understand what Alan Gray is. Alan Gray is an asset manager. They manage assets. There are many asset managers in South Africa. For example, Coronation, they're an asset manager. Signia is an asset manager. So an asset manager basically manages investments for others. So in the case, you specifically asked me about Alan Gray. So let's talk about Alan Gray. Let's talk about some background about Alan Gray. Well, Alan Gray is a man, and he's a businessman, a South African businessman. Well, was a South African businessman. And he passed away, I think it was last year, the year before. And when he passed away, a whole bunch of my clients asked me, oh my gosh, Alan Gray died. What's going to happen with my investments? Well, your investments were safe then and they're safe now. So Alan Gray was a finance person, a South African finance person way back in the day. And he started his firm, Alan Gray. So Alan Gray is owned by the Alan Gray and Jill Foundation. So obviously over time, when they first started, they've set up this trust, the foundation, and they own the controlling shares in the Alan Gray investment firm. So like any asset manager, Alan Gray and the other financial asset managers in South Africa, they will set up these funds. Their entire mandate as an asset manager is to manage people's investments. So then they will set up these funds. And the ever popular Alan Gray Balanced is one of those funds. Then there'll be Alan Gray Stable. That's another fund. So when you see the word balanced when it comes to a portfolio, it means that the portfolio has a certain percentage of equity exposure. Means that around 70% or so of that fund is actually invested in holding shares of companies. Then you get an Alan Gray Equity Fund. So that fund is very high in equities, meaning majority of the investment holding in Alan Gray equities is in equities. Then you get the Alan Gray Money Market Fund. So we spoke about money markets. You know what they do. So it's the Alan Gray Money Market. You can park your money there for a little while. It's under the Alan Gray umbrella, and you'll find the other investment houses the same. Coronation will have a balance fund, they'll have an equity fund, they'll have a bonds fund, and that's how everything works. So in those funds will have a portfolio manager, and they are all of these economics people that basically do the job of managing the fund. They buy low, they sell high, and that's how we as clients, we would make money. All right, so that's the financial houses. So you asked about an Alan Gray policy. Now you can go to Alan Gray directly, or even somebody like me, since I am an Alan Gray advisor. So if you want a strictly Alan Gray portfolio, I would be able to do that for you, or anybody else would be able to do that for you as well, because all of the investment houses, example, Discovery, Stanlib, Momentum, you can buy Alan Gray from those platforms as well. And the nice thing is when you buy from financial companies like Discovery, Stanlib, and Momentum, is that you can mix up your portfolios. For example, you can have 50% of your portfolio in Alan Gray Balanced, and you can have another 50% in Coronation Balanced. So that gives you a nice spread. But the thing that we want to look for is fees as well. But fees is a whole different video. I will get to that at a different stage. So when it comes to an Alan Gray policy, you can invest with Alan Gray directly, or you can invest in one of the different financial houses and get a diversified portfolio. If you want more details than that, then you're going to have to sit with your financial advisor to better understand what your goals are. So the third part of your question, I know this video is actually going on and on, but there's so much. I'm just giving you a brief overview. I can drill down a lot more in each one of the questions that you've asked, but then we're going to be sitting here for a very, very long time. So let's see. And other options, if you had 50 to 100,000 to invest and you only wanted to withdraw a part of the interest every month to use for living expenses. Now, 100,000 Rand is not a lot of money for you to be living off, even in the short term or even long term, only of the interest, because it's not gonna get that much interest. Remember when we looked at the interest rate of the money market, that was interest per annum. So from there you gotta work out what you're gonna get per month. So getting any form of interest from 50 to 100,000 Rand investment is not going to take you very far. Actually, you probably get a couple of hundred rands every month if you are lucky to get a decent enough interest rate. So when it comes to that kind of investment, if you want to live off the interest every month of 100,000 Rand, that's not going to happen. And I don't want you to go into these pyramid schemes, peer lending, Bitcoin, Forex thing. That's not regulated by the Financial Services Conduct Authority in South Africa. Always go with a legit investment. The next thing is you can just live off that money until you find your next job. But eventually you got to know that money will run out. If you're living off 20,000 Rand a month, 100,000 Rand is gone in 5 months. So it's not a lot of time that you have to use that money up until you find your next job. But it certainly isn't an amount of money that you can invest to live off the interest. When we invest into things like unit trusts, into shares, it's always a medium to long-term horizon, especially now with the state of everything, the state of investments and how everything is. There's a bit of turmoil in America with COVID-19 and their election season. We've been in turmoil here for the longest of time, so you don't know where the markets are going, and you can't bank on the market suddenly spiking and giving you a return. All right. So when it comes to those funds that you have, either use it up now. You can park it in the money market while you decide what your way forward is going to be, or you can even utilize it as part of your living expenses now. All right. Unfortunately, it's not a large enough sum where you can put it in the bank and live off the interest, because interest rates are at an all-time low in South Africa, and that's when you find when interest rate drops, it's the borrowers that are rejoicing because they are paying less to pay off the debt, but it's people that are invested, that are holding money in money market accounts, if they're holding money in cash for foreign cash reserves and things like that. And when the interest rate drops, they actually get less money. So it's a double-edged sword, the interest rates. All right, so I hope I answered your questions. If there is anything else that you want me to give you further information about, you can always direct message me. You have my details.